Hey everyone, my name is DragonLord. Welcome back to DragonLord Tells Stories. Before today's story begins, I want to share a quick note about it. This short story, C.L.E.A.R, was written as an experimental piece connected to my main sci-fi project, The Reverse War: The Legends from Die. I used C.L.E.A.R to test how thriller, horror, and science fiction elements could blend together, how tension, pacing, atmosphere might work inside the same universe I'm building for my novel. You can think of it as a creative field test for the tone, suspense, and darker science behind that world. So while Clear stands on its own as a self-contained horror sci-fi story, it's also a glimpse into the kind of energy and emotion I'm bringing to my larger series. With that said, turn down the lights, put on your headphones, and enjoy Clear. The night before summer began, the state's smallest prison hummed like a hive. Officially, it was a supermax. In practice, it was the county's largest psychiatric facility, 16 floors up, four basements down, and 1,000 ways to get lost. In the lowest sub-basement sat Clear, an immortality experiment so classified most staff only knew one rule. If a patient comes up from basement 4, they do not come up alive. There's a buzz of electricity in the air as Jeb enters room 12. Jeb knew the other rules. The human ones. Sedate first, distract, restrain, and breathe. He stood in room 12 with his hands open across from him. Caleb trembled while holding a sliver of metal at his throat. Caleb, Jeb said quietly, breathe with me. They're using him, Caleb whispered. I won't be one of them. One step at a time, Jeb said, keeping the taser holstered. Deep breath. The door exploded inward. Down! 7 shots cracked through the air. White light, then ringing, then red. SRT 7, the only response team authorized to operate inside the asylum, fanned through the room, rifles still hot. Their lieutenant brushed past Jeb, helmet visor reflecting the blood-slick floor. That was a protocol, Jeb managed. It came out thinner than he meant. Not in my ward. The lieutenant's voice was flat. Caleb was found near 4. The capital F wasn't lost on Jeb. Basement 4 meant automatic termination, no questions asked. In the corridor, the argument ended with Jeb on the floor and a wrist he can no longer move. Paperwork appeared almost as fast. A non-disclosure, a temporary reassignment to door control. The warden's polite suggestion to sign were highlighted. Warden Dorian ran the place with an iron made airtight schedule and a scientist's curiosity. Tonight she looked at Jeb's splintered wrist, then at the clock. Door duty until you heal, she said. You keep things contained. Everyone goes home. Her eyes flicked to the camera feeds. Basement 4 stays sealed. Understood? Jeb nodded. Somewhere below, an elevator chimed. That shouldn't. In the morgue, 2 floors down, Bill, a junior tech, worked under the quiet pressure of a late shift. The chief medical officer, John, had stepped out, promising to finish later. Bill hated unfinished things. He cataloged, cleaned, followed the checklist. One line gave him pause. Administer clear dose according to protocol. He hesitated. The vial gleamed like trapped lightning. The protocol was signed. He followed it. The body, the table twitched. The elevator dings in the distance. Bill locked the vial away and wheeled the gurney toward the service elevator. By the time the door slid shut, the twitch had become a shudder. When the doors opened on basement 3, Bill called for help. No radio, no staff, just directional signs and the dull throb of the facility's heart. He followed the signs. Behind him, something stood up on the gurney. In the main control room, alarms marched across screens. Dorian listened as reports piled atop each other. Doors unlatched in basement 3. Movement in unauthorized zones. Static on the service radio. Lock the asylum, she ordered. SRT 1 through 6 secure the perimeter between asylum and prison blocks. SRT 7 enters basement 3 and guides others in waves. Clear corridors, shut pens, and do not breach 4. Copy, said Lieutenant Gabe of SRT 7, already moving. Weapons check, 7 mags per rifle, flash, and frags, masks on, head or heart, if non-responsive. He didn't explain why. Only a handful of people knew the role. The elevator. Doors ding, the doors part open, and everyone's breathing is muffled through the respirators. Basement 3 ran like a maze. Low ceilings, tight turns, heavy gates. SRT 7 went in, staggered, lights off rifles, cutting triangles through the dark. First pen, door ajar. Inside, empty restraints, drag marks leading out. Close it, Gabe said. Then we advance. 2 operators moved for the door. A shape flickered at the edge of their lights. Bill, shirt dark at the sleeve, eyes unfocused. Bill, hold, one called. Identify. Bill stepped forward, reaching. Don't, the operator warned. Stay there. Scratch at a boot. Another shape at the operator's feet, reaching up from the shadows where the pen gate had jammed. Then everything happened at once. Gunfire echoed and rang through the halls, echoing. Shouts. A stumble. Another burst. A flash grenade rolled and popped like thunder in a closet. When the smoke drifted, Gabe counted fewer voices than before. Head or heart, he reminds them. Voice steady in the mask. We keep moving. They did, but the corridor didn't. Upstairs, Dorian parceled teams to the backup elevator at the far end of basement 3, sending 8 at a time to close the doors and guide stragglers back. The idea was simple: converge, compress, contain. Simplicity didn't last. The primary elevator near the center shaft had jammed lower than it should. The camera showed something wrong with the floor. Metal bent inward as if something large had pushed from below. Possible, Gabe said when he reached it, then softer. Not if 4 is hot. Do not reach 4, Dorian said. Repeat, do not. Gabe said nothing. Jeb woke to the quiet kind of silence that only happens when too many alarms have already been silenced. His radio gave him nothing. The dorm was empty. Pain made the edges of what he saw blur, but the path to the control room was muscle memory. At the door, he heard voices that weren't his, not guards, but soldiers. Give us basement 4 authorization, the man said, calm, practiced. Now, get out of my facility, Dorian answered through gritted teeth. Jeb didn't think. He moved. The first 3 shots were his. The last 4 came from behind the console. When the ringing faded, the soldiers didn't stand up again. Jeb sank against the frame, realizing he'd been hit. Once low, once in the leg. Dorian caught his eyes. You still with me? He nodded. We don't have time, she said. The outer prison's compromised. If we want a chance to get anyone out, we clear a path. How? We open the north loading docks, Dorian said, watching the cameras. We seal everything behind. The clear will flood outward. We use the gap. Jebs understood what that meant. He also understood it might be the only way left. Set a 20-minute timer, she said, already moving toward the access controls. Then, find Gabe. Jeb took a clear right shield from the auxiliary armory. Titanium spines inside. Twin red triggers on the grip. The kind meant to push back a human surge without taking a life. He also found a shock cartridges, non-lethal rounds that bit and held. He set the loading dock timer with his good hand and closed the max security doors behind him. The stairwell down felt too narrow for breathing. Basement 3 looked like a firefight had tried to get through and failed. Empty magazines, scored concrete, doors wrenched, crooked. The air smelled of metal and something sweet that didn't belong. Gunfire echoed 2 corridors over. Jeb moved toward it. The thing in the hall looked like a wall standing up, arms too long, legs too heavy, skin knotted like it had grown over armor. A low shape rode high over its back, pulsing. High back, Jeb thought. The name, a rumor most guards laughed at until they heard it twice. No room to sneak, no path to pass. He braced, stepped in, and jammed at the shield into the creature's shoulder. His thumb found the trigger. The shock ran up the shield's spines, skin to muscle to wherever that pulsing thing connected. The creature reeled and grabbed, crushing the shield toward Jeb's chest. Jeb hit the trigger again. The smell of ozone crowded the corridor. The world tilted. The wall behind him took his breath. He saw the ceiling once, but nothing. Move, damn you! A voice shouted. Gabe's? Jeb's fingers found the pistol he'd dropped. The first shot went wide. He forced the second into the creature's torso. The shock cartridge bit. Electricity webbed up the thing's back, dragging the pulsing mass lower. Gabe didn't miss. 2 shots center that beating target. The creature spasmed and folded. Another sound rose in the corridor. Not quite a roar, not quite a siren. Like pressure visiting the human ear for the first time. Flare. Gabe pulled Jeb up, half carrying him toward the stairs. Carl, Jeb said around a mouth too dry to say more. Far from Baltimore. In a room built to hear bad news, officials watched feeds that lagged and blurred. Reports used words like outbreak and containment loss and civil perimeter. One journal used a different word. Extinction. If it gets past the valley. Options, the president said. A woman in uniform folded her hands. We can't vaporize the site. We don't know what extreme heat does to clear at scale. Do we know what happens if we don't? Another asked. Silence. Counted to five. The president closed his eyes. May God be with us, he said. Authorize the strike. Back in the control room, Jeb watched snow begin to fall on the external cameras. Static, not weather. The power rerouted once, then again. He felt more than hard pressure change in the bones of the facility. There's still a way out, Dorian said, eyes on a map, only she had memorized. If we move now. Gabe tightened the strap on his empty rifle and looked to Jeb. Door duty? He asked. Jeb flexed his splinted wrist. It hurt like truth. Yeah, he said. Door duty. Distant vibrations forced their way through the facility violently. The monitors washed white.